Consideration of consent to the following contract awards. Ms. Shulman.
Yes, earlier this evening, the Buildings and Contracts Committee met, and we were forwarding items number 1 through 17 to the full board for consideration and vote.
Does anyone wish to separate tonight? Ms. Shulman.
I wish to separate items 16 and 17.
16 and 17. Moving on to item 16. Ms. Shulman.
I separated the item hoping for discussion from the full board. And I know you've familiarized yourself and you've heard people speak on this before. But I wanted it made clear that at our committee meeting, we wanted full disclosure of what elementary school addition we were talking about. And of course, it was an addition to Ridge Ruxton. That is a design fee. They're going to negotiate with Design Collective for design fee and different contract negotiations. But I wanted it open to this board so we can discuss the addition and our concerns. And my one concern is that in the design of an addition, if it indeed goes through, if our board approves that addition when the time comes, that the design will include a cafeteria multi-purpose room within the addition and not to be shared with the Ridge Ruxton School proper.
Questions? Mr. Sines is available to answer.
Yes.
Don't need a. My view is that this matter should not be handled at this particular meeting and this particular contract.
Okay.
I believe firmly that the community ought to have an opportunity to talk to us about this. We had a grand total of 2 meetings to generally consider it. One was at Stilney Elementary School, which was attended by a grand total of 1 board member. The other was held at a night when we had to reschedule our board meeting. So board members truly haven't had an opportunity to listen to the public at large on that particular subject, except those limited comments that we've heard during this evening's conversation. So I would very much like for us to hear and have an opportunity to hear much more completely what the community has to say, and also what the system folks have considered internally with respect to all of the available opportunities. And I don't believe that there's a single opportunity here. I think that there's got to be several alternatives, and this very well may be the best. It's simply that we haven't had an opportunity, and it's very difficult to vote when we don't know what our choices are, frankly.
Ms. Harris.
Yes, I don't really have a question, but I have some comments, which most of this the board knows, but I'm not sure the public does, and I think the public should know. And as some of our speakers said, they just hope that we didn't react by politics because some of us want to be reappointed. Well, I would love to be reappointed, but I don't expect it. But I don't make decisions based on politics. Just ask my boss. I've ticked him off a few times. So I will tell you right now that we had some optimal ideas about what to do about our special ed school, and some capital improvements and capital new building that we wanted to do, that we were all ready to put in our budget, which is probably what some people had seen in the newspapers and heard us discussing before. But there was a unique situation where our county executive kind of had a pre-budget negotiation, and basically if we didn't like what he proposed, we weren't getting anything. So therefore our budget proposal has changed, and that's what we're looking at, and that's what you're seeing now. And I think it's a shame. It's not optimal, but it's kind of like all we're going to get. Thank you.
Ms. O'Hare, Mr. Jansen.
Are we talking just about 16 right now?
Yes, we are. I'll get to 17.
Okay, that's fine. With regard to 16, I thought we had a relatively good solution with the Mays Chapel property. But I think political pressure was brought to bear, and many of us on the board thought that was a very good solution for the students, our most needy students at Ridge Ruxton, to get a new state-of-the-art facility. But apparently the contractor that put up housing near there told the people that were buying the housing that that was a park, which it was not. It's been school land for many years. So many of us on the board were disappointed when that was not an option, because it seemed like an excellent option for our neediest students in Baltimore County. It also gave us the ability to open an elementary school to relieve the overcrowding in the Towson elementary schools, in elementary schools in the Towson area. And to me, it doesn't seem right to have to make decisions because a group of property owners who were lied to by a contractor, don't get to keep a park that was never really a park. So, I mean, we are put between a rock and a hard place here. The other problem is, with all the development probably in my lifetime that's gone on board of Baltimore County, we really haven't paid a lot of attention to infrastructure needs. We haven't set a lot of land aside for schools when we develop. We just develop and then we worry about making room for the students haphazardly. And now we're so built out, there is no land that's left that's south of the urban-rural demarcation line. So these are not decisions that we as the Board of Education make. We have to get everything that we decide to do in this regard from approved by the county government. So, I think that maybe they could help us out a little bit more with this, and that it would be a good idea if we could go back to having the Mays Chapel property on the table again.
Mr. Jansen?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. One of the points I raised in the committee meeting was that I have a concern that we are not serving the needs of the children, which is what we are here for. Neither are we serving the needs of the children that are already in this school, nor the proposed students that we would be wanting to bring into this school. I concur with Mr. Hayden's sentiments about we need to look into this farther. And as we look into it in more depth, I think it's imperative that we keep in mind that it's ultimately the children that we need to take their best interest and decide in that manner. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Mr. Sines, would you like to comment on the position we're in currently?
No.
No. We have brought this forward. We don't have a specific motion on the table.
I move we remove this until a later date, till after the board's had a chance to have more input.
And second? We have a second?
Oh, second.
Okay.
All in favor of deferring this until the board has had an opportunity to study the proposal further and or seek community input? Was that, John? Was that your? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Request, the motion carries. I'm